What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel, and thank you so much for jumping into another video. My name is Josh, and I'm just your average Joe day trader. Hey, today I want to do a couple things. Number one, I'm going to talk a little bit about the market, not so much, but what I want to focus on today is APLD, Applied Digital. As you guys know, I am a long-term investor in APLD, but I'm also a consistent daily day trader with APLD. I trade APLD just about every single day. I want to say in the last 2 weeks, I had one day I sat on the sidelines and I watched it continue to drop. It's one of the days I made a video that I honestly didn't know what was going on in the market, couldn't figure out what was happening in the market, but everything in the S&P 500 was on a run down, and the day did close out that day with the NASDAQ and the S&P 500 both down. But today is completely opposite, completely different of what we had been seeing over the last several days. And the number one thing, the most important thing that happened today for us with Applied Digital, earnings. Now, you guys know that I love to play earnings. I don't necessarily love to play earnings when I'm holding 1,000 shares of it in my long-term investment to have as retirement stock money, to have as part of my retirement. But I can tell you that today, APLD, man, they put forward some amazing numbers. And I'm going to share with you why, again, I continue to believe that Applied Digital, APLD, is a phenomenal company, an amazing one to get into and be in for a long-term hold. And it's also one that you can day trade every single day, almost, with the exception of the other day, the other week, and make a good amount of money to put into your account to continue to build wealth. So let's kind of jump right into this. What happened with APLD today? Literally, they just locked in this $11 billion. The future of AI infrastructure is here. And what I want to tell you is that APLD is making massive waves in this AI data center world. In their last update, APLD actually announced these two extremely transformative 15-year lease deals with CoreWeave. And you know, they are an AI hyperscaler, and I'm going to use that term a little bit later in the video. But you know, many of us, including me, kind of panicked and freaked out a little bit because APLD signed this deal, right, for 15 years as a tenant, all right, in their North Dakota, campus. And CoreWeave was a great partner in that. They actually even had, I think it was 13 million shares. I don't remember the number exactly of how many shares of stock they purchased. Let me look real quick here. Yeah, CoreWeave, even as part of the deal, were given a huge percentage of shares of APLD stock, which the reason why everybody kind of freaked out was because they made the decision to exercise their warrants on the stock. They sold the stock and they took that cash, and probably to benefit themselves, to assist with their own business strategy, which is totally fine. They were able to do whatever they wanted with those shares. It doesn't change anything really for APLD, except for the fact that they were, you know, a large stakeholder in their contract, in that agreement, but they sold out of it. So people literally were hitting the decks left and right, selling out left and right, fear of what was going to happen with that. A lot of people, I even remember my brother-in-law calling me going, CoreWeave backed out of the deal. They backed out of the deal. You know, and when you kind of sat down and looked at it, they didn't back out of the deal. Listen, this is a 15-year lease deal that is believed to bring in about $7 billion in revenue over the life of those leases for Applied Digital. I don't think that's still such a bad deal, guys. CoreWeave didn't back out of the deal. Matter of fact, it even gets better because CoreWeave has already exercised its option for another 150 megawatts, right? They're already in with their original deal for 250 megawatts of IT load at the Polaris Forge 1, which is the name of this campus in North Dakota. But they now have exercised the right for an additional 150 megawatt megawatts, which is expected to bring the total deal size, get this right, guys, $11 billion in income for Applied Digital over the 15 years. So that means 400 megawatts of critical AI compute power locked in, okay, over these long-term contracts. And now, could contracts be broken? Could they fall apart and all that? Anything is possible. That's what lawyers were given jobs for and go to school for. But right now, there'd be absolute no reason for them to back out of this deal, because they are going to have a solid foundation for their AI world, this infrastructure with APLD. It's an incredible situation, incredible circumstance, and one that I believe are defining moments. Matter of fact, the CEO, Wes Cummins, he calls it a defining moment. He basically says that this mega campus, it's scalable all the way up to 1 gigawatt, and it's designed specifically for AI and high performance computing. The first 100 megawatts facility, the first 100 megawatt facility is set to go live this quarter 4, 2025, with the expansions taking place coming in 2026 and 2027. And I actually, with earnings, and we're going to go to the charts in a minute, I'm going to share with you and show it to you. But with earnings, I got to watch the webcast. I listened in on the webcast, and I was listening to the CEO, Wes Cummins, talk about basically how APL is doing. And there were a lot of questions from other investors, from bigger key investors, that asked some questions about what's happening with APLD, what's the future of APLD, what does it look like? And they shared several things. I didn't take a lot of notes, but what I heard was that they are already in process of several of the buildings that are being used as the centers, that they're in construction, and everything is going as per plan. They're on time with construction. They're hitting their key points of time, and that everything looks really good with construction plan to continue to move forward. There's no delays right now. That's an absolute great thing for Applied Digital and for CoreWeave. APLD's HPC facility, this high performance computing facility, right now it's 369,000 square feet. And what's really cool about it is that they have liquid cooled infrastructure. And they talked a lot about that today in the web call, basically saying that, each of their clients that they have, not just CoreWeave, they have other clients as well, require different types of infrastructure, different types of cooling techniques for their infrastructure. And so they have this new design which features a closed loop direct to chip cooling system. It's called a PUE of 1.18, which has near zero water consumption. And this is something that I don't know a whole ton about, but I know that the people, the tenants, CoreWeave, and the other clients know a lot about it, because this is the requirements that they need in order to maximize this data computing infrastructure, this high power computing facility that they're going to basically live in. And their strategic location in the Dakotas offers a very low energy cost and over 200 days of free cooling, which potentially is going to save customers up to $2.7 billion over 30 years. Now, just because CoreWeave is there for a 15-year deal doesn't mean CoreWeave won't extend or continue on beyond the 15 years. It's not going to be like, okay, hey, we're deciding we're moving to new data centers. They're making this home. There are live-in facilities. The really cool thing about this is that the folks that work for CoreWeave, some of their major associates, employees, are going to be able to live on site, on campus in North Dakota at the APLD facilities, okay? And basically monitor and manage everything that's going on with their processes, with their computing, with everything. So, I would picture it, I don't know for sure, but I would imagine that something like this is probably a 24-hour type of a situation where there might be people working around the clock. And as part of being a tenant for APLD's center, the people get to live on campus. They get to live on site in houses. They have housing there. The other thing is that they have a crypto hosting business, which is also thriving as well. And with the data centers operating at full capacity and their quarter 4 revenue jumping 41%, okay, year over year, which is to $38 million, guys. The rising price of Bitcoin continues to fuel the demand for this. So this is another huge opportunity for APLD to continue to grow their business. But as of today, APLD is trading around $11.66, okay? And the market sentiment is totally bullish on APLD. Investors are showing growing confidence in APLD's long-term strategy and these hyperscale partnerships. The other thing that was mentioned, the other thing that was shared with us on the webcast was that they have 2 additional hyperscalers that are considering signing on with Applied Digital to be part of the Dakotas campuses. And if you think about this, man, if we go from like a CoreWeave with some other, businesses that are already signed up to have 2 more contracts signed up, okay, sky's the limit. Okay, I'm not going to to basically say what I believe could potentially be APLD's, cost per share, but a lot of the analysts are saying, $13, $15, $18, high $20, and I think the sky is the limit for APLD in the coming months and coming years. So I'm a long-term investor holding into it, and I'm excited to see what this is going to look like. So the bottom line for APLD, guys, APLD is quickly becoming a major player in the AI infrastructure. With this $11 billion contract pipeline and their strategic positioning, and listen, we're going to just admit right now that they have an extremely cutting edge tech. This could be one of the most explosive growth stories in the data center and AI space. And I am living in this space, and I cannot wait to know and see what it does. Let's look at the charts real quick together, just so you can kind of see what happened. Matter of fact, let me see if I can do this. But I want to play for you. I did this. Let's see if this works. All right, so I'm gonna kind of, I recorded APLD's earnings basically response today, and I'm going to show it to you. So right now where we're at is about, let's see, this was about this was about 3:56 p.m. Okay, this is playing, but it's playing, by the minute. I'm going to actually grab this and speed this up a little bit because I want you to see what happened as the market got closer to close. So look at this. We jumped up to 10.04. It came back down a little bit. Okay, back to under $10. Back up to 10.03. Okay, and now we're at 4 o'clock and 42 seconds. So I'm going to just go ahead and I'm going to play this and show you this is what happened with their earnings announcement. Literally 10:15, okay, 10:11, 10:13, 10:20, 10:26, 10:29, 10:30, 10:40, 10:42, 43, 44, 10:50, 10:54. Guys, look at this. Look at this. This jumped to 10:69, 10:70, and it kept going, right? Look at this as we keep going. I know I keep saying, look at this. 10.90, 10.98, over $11, guys, okay? And it kept going, 11.02, and I'm going to get to this point where I'm going to stop it. Okay, back into the under 11, 11.02. It came down hard, and then boom, back up, $11. And there you go, 11.08. And that was about the high of the day. It hit 11.10 and it came back down. And now we're going to get out of this one. So pretty cool. I mean, it was a very exciting earnings. Then we're going to go to our live screen here and show you where it's at now. And as you'll see, it hit a high in the post market. You can kind of see it over here. Okay, no, don't need my lines. $11.80. That was the high tonight in the post. And then it came back down. It dropped back down to about $11 and the low of 40 cents. Back up. So listen, like I told you guys, this is I've got 1,000 shares in my long-term hold. Very excited about what it's doing. It's holding very nicely in the aftermarket because the market closed at 8 o'clock. It's almost 8:30 now. It's holding very nice here at $11.65. It's a 24-hour stock, so it's going to continue to work through the night. But my personal belief for APLD, if you're watching this on Wednesday night, my personal belief for this is that most likely it's going to have a strong hold through the night. The 4 a.m. market, when the market opens back up for 4 a.m. trading and it gets closer to the opening bell at 9:30, I feel like it's going to continue to run up a little bit. And then what I think you're going to see at the market bell open is taking profit. A lot of people are going to take profit. They're going to dump and get out of it. And guys, it just brings you back to another opportunity to buy in at the dip, buy in at the low. APLD has proven tonight with their earnings results up 44% year over year, $38 million in additional revenue. They're not going anywhere. So, not financial advice, not sharing for you to go buy. But, guys, you got to look at it for face value, what it is. Not going anywhere. They are going to be an AI king. I love APLD. I'm excited to be part of this APLD world and living in the stocks. And I'm going to be day trading APLD tomorrow for sure. So anyway, take a look at it. Do your own homework. Do your own diligence. That's all I've got to share on APLD. Guys, have a great night. See you tomorrow. Excited to see what the market brings for us in APLD. Josh out. Peace.